Morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We have quite a full house here, and we know why. It's going to be a very, very interesting program this morning. I want to welcome you to the Woodrow Wilson Center. I'm Steve McDonald. I'm the director of the Africa program and the Project on Leadership and Building State Capacity here at the center. We are really excited about this program this morning. Obviously, Nigeria is one of the most important states in Africa. But we all think of it in terms of oil and oil revenues and the Niger Delta and problems and issues and challenges surrounding that. So this morning we're going to be talking about other development opportunities, business and investment, and I think it's going to be really rather refreshing and an area that most outsiders don't really follow. Now, the Woodrow Wilson Center is, as you probably know, the official living memorial to President Woodrow Wilson. President Woodrow Wilson, besides how he's known in terms of international democracy promotion, the League of Nations, and et cetera, was our only president to have a PhD. To be a true academic, he had been president of Harvard University, was a prolific writer himself, and et cetera. But he always believed very strongly in bringing together policymakers in the world of ideas. That is, people in the field, people who are practicing, who are experts, who live the kinds of issues that we make policy about. And this is a good example this morning, I think, of that juxtaposition and bringing people together to talk about issues of mutual concern. So welcome you to Woodrow Wilson Center on my behalf. I'm going to play a very minor part in this thing today. I want to recognize our co-sponsors, Constituency for Africa. And I think Mel Foote is here somewhere. Mel Foote, yes. Thank you very much for all your help on this and your co-sponsorship. And Africare, our other co-sponsor, represented by Stan Slaughter here, and by, whoops, got the wrong one. It's Constituency for Africa, and by Robin Sanders, and Darius isn't here. No, okay. Robin is going to be our moderator this morning, and I'm going to leave it to her to introduce our guest speakers and the panels as they're going to be play out through the morning. I do want to make a special recognition of a couple of people in the audience, though, who are not going to be speaking formally this morning. First is Ambassador Adefoye, who is on his way. I'm sorry, I hadn't seen him yet. He's the Nigerian ambassador to the United States, very, very active, and most of us here in this room know him. And then there's Senator Magnus Ngeyabe, Rivers Southeast constituency of Rivers State. Okay, Senator, thank you very much. And Director General Asishani Okoro, Nigeria Governors Forum. Welcome, sir. And we have, and we're very, very lucky to have two of our first ladies, Mrs. Judith Amici, First Lady of Rivers State, and Mrs. Obieme Imoki, First Lady of Cross River State. Thank you very much. Now, I think you have most of the bios of people, so I'm not going to belabor the bio of Robin Saunders, and I also think at least every Nigerian in the room knows her, if not everyone else. But Robin is an old friend of mine. We are very happy to be working together on a variety of things here now that she's taken a little time off from the State Department. She's a career Foreign Service officer. She, of course, was the ambassador to Nigeria very recently. And before that, I think ambassador to the Republic of Congo as well. But career Foreign Service, she and I first met in South Africa. I had been political officer down there, and she was coming in to do the same job, and I think we changed a few contacts and ideas about things. Very, very tough time in South Africa, and I know Robin has lived through lots of issues and been a very, very stalwart part of our Foreign Service in advising the Secretary of State and the President on issues as important as South African transition in those days from apartheid and the Nigerian situation and the issues and challenges that we face together. So I'm going to turn it over to Robin to introduce all the rest of our guests and set the stage for today's proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Oh, are you really there? Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me stand on the previous protocols in line with Nigerian tradition. I stand on all protocols previously stated. But certainly I want to recognize Dr. Alex Oti, Group Managing Director of Diamond Bank, who has joined us from the Nigerian private sector as well. This morning, Ambassador Adefoye has asked me also to invite everyone here today at the forum to his reception for the governors this evening from 8 to 6 p.m., so I wanted to extend that on behalf of the ambassador until such time that he arrives. I'm going to begin just with a little bit and then turn it over and highlight each governor and then turn it over to our esteemed moderator. We have 6 states making presentations this morning. This first panel will all be in PowerPoint with the governors making their presentations. I've had the wonderful opportunity to visit all of their states many, many times. And by far, to me, they are the dynamic key governors that are doing incredible things in their states. Governor Amici, who will be our first speaker, who will do an overview and then his state presentation as part of the panel, is chairman also of the Governors Forum, which is the collective organization of the 36 governors of Nigeria. He will begin with a few remarks on the overall business and investment climate in Nigeria, and as I noted before, then he will join panel 1. I was last in his wonderful state in July, and I saw just how much he was doing in this great state. He's building a new capital city of Port Harcourt, new roads, new bridges, new hotels, new housing, new businesses. It was really impressive and incredible. It's also an agriculturally focused state and a state with lots of resources, in addition, of course, to the well-known oil reserves that are there. Following His Excellency Governor Amici will be His Excellency Governor Shehu Shema of Katsina. And he governs a state which is rich also in agriculture. He has great mineral wealth and gemstone wealth in his state, ranging from kaolin to gold. He has water resources, arable land, and also a brand new international airport that can certainly take a 747 and larger. Cross River, I've been there many times as well. And Governor Imoki governs a state that is not only home to many of Nigeria's original cultural groups, but Cross River is one of 2 states with a first-class resort and an economic zone. It has great water resources and tourism opportunities, and it is also home to one of the world's endangered primates, the drill. So with that, let me turn it over to our esteemed moderator, Ambassador Herman Cohen. Ambassador Cohen is a former U.S. diplomat with 38 years of experience. He's served as ambassador in Senegal and other country ambassador? And Gambia. He served also under many administrations, both Republican and Democratic. And when he was Assistant Secretary of State for Africa, which is the senior most U.S. diplomat for Africa, I also had the privilege to work for him at that time as his special assistant. So with that, I turn it over to our esteemed moderator to moderate panel 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Sanders. It's a great privilege for me to be moderating this panel and to be in the presence of these, Their Excellencies, the 3 governors. It's special for me because during my long career in diplomacy, I've been to Nigeria a lot, and I've interacted with some many high government officials from the top, and all of them were not elected people. They were all people, mostly in military, and so it's a privilege for me right now to be in the presence of people who are elected and who are accountable to their constituents. And I'd like to emphasize the fact that all 3 of these governors are now in their 2nd term, so they've been re-elected after their 1st term, which shows that their people have confidence in them. So I know it's not good for me to give advice about their internal affairs, but I just have one piece of advice. Your Excellencies, please don't try to change the Constitution to give yourself a 3rd term, okay? Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll go immediately to the presentations, and governors, if you could hopefully limit your presentation to about 10 minutes. So we need to leave room for questions and answers from the audience. So let's start with His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, Governor Amechi.
want to assume that I have 20 minutes. And that assumption is predicated on the fact that I have overview of Nigeria business and political climate, except you're asking me to leave. I leave that, or do I go ahead with
No,
it?
you go ahead with
So
it.
that means I have 20 minutes. 10 minutes for Rivers, 20 minutes for Nigeria.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is on the... Is the slide here?
Yes.
All right, good morning, gentlemen. We're not in Nigeria. No need to observe protocols. And I can tell you that governors feel that we're all like every other Nigerian, no special attitude to protocol. That's how all governors feel. Let me start with an unwholesome responsibility to discuss Nigeria. And you know that it's easier to discuss Nigeria in the negative than in the positive, because it's very easy to destroy, but difficult to build. But I want to start with saying that our population is between 140 million and 150 million. And Ambassador Sanders will agree that Nigerians are never direct about their population. It's between this and that. So you choose between 140 million and 150. If you decide to choose 145, if you decide to choose 150, but it depends on who you're speaking to and who you're talking with. That's our population. I decided to start from there because if you're an investor, population is key in making your business decision. I usually cite an example that if you prepare local dishes in Nigeria and go to the stadium where they are playing a football match, you are sure to dispense of that food and make your money for the week. That is the benefit of having that population. And that is why Nigeria will continue to remain a united country. The political scorecard, at least you know that it's not a military governor that's speaking to you. You know that my colleagues are not military governors. We have a democracy, fledgling as it is, but stable to the extent that we're able to choose who lead which state and who will lead the country. Election this year has been, to a great extent, credible. At least, if nothing else, ACN admitted that we won square and well. And that because they never accept that, but at least they accepted that our president was elected by all Nigerians and that the governors of the different states were properly elected, including where they are in court. Nigerians are good lawyers and they go to court for every issue, including if you greet them good morning in a wrong manner. I've talked about the population, I've talked about the fact that we're a federation, but a very... Don't take my word because I'm a governor. I'm talking from a biased perspective. But as a governor, it is claimed, and all governors believe that the federation is skewed towards a very strong center against we, the masses that reside in the states. So we would want to have a weak center with a strong federating unit. When you have a federation, when you have a federal government, you know you have bicameral legislature. You have the Congress, as you call it here. In the Congress, you have the Senate or the House of Reps. You have the Senate and they have the House of Reps, just like you have in Nigeria. We are multi-ethnic and multi-religious. You can have any religion. I don't think there's any country that's as free as Nigeria. You can have anything you want to have. You can decide to worship one spot in your house. It's your business. Nobody is going to disturb you. In fact, there's a new tradition that's coming up now in Nigeria. When we go to public functions and you pray a Christian prayer, you must also replicate other prayers from other religious groups. So that shows you how free we are. The economy is largely dependent on oil, and that oil comes from the Niger Delta. Well, we talked about how we started. These are historical facts that most of you may have read about. You knew we started with parliamentary system of government with Tafawa Balewa as prime minister and all that. Then our economy was diversified. We had crude oil, we had palm oil, and all sorts of these things. All of you will agree that there was a 2007 election, and then there is the best that you can have between 1999 and 2011. It is acclaimed that 2011 appears to be the best election that was organized by civilians to elect a new civilian government. Well, those of you who know the NGF, I don't know why this pop up here. NGF is the Nigerian Governors Forum. Currently, we have a peer review mechanism in place. We were in Anambra. I was to go there, but I was represented by the Delta State governor because Jesse Jackson was visiting River State. We had a literary festival, and he came as a keynote speaker. We have a peer review mechanism which every state is involved, including River State. There's a new one that I've introduced to the Governors Forum between the Governors Forum, the Canadian Embassy, and the United Nations. That's another peer review that will go around the states again. It is claimed to be a fast-growing economy. I'm trying hard. I'm struggling because I'm among those who believe that, yes, the economy is growing in a very fast way, but we need to see it on the tables of Nigerians. Is it not? If you compare us to other oil-producing states, we have a problem. You can see the figures as it is. All of you who are Nigerians here will agree that our economy is greatly dependent on government, including the human beings, is it not? That's why the struggle for power in Nigeria is extremely ridiculous, because once you grab it, you grab the source of the economy. So you have government consumption, $14.8 billion, gross fixed investment with 1.9, aggregate consumption, 149 billion. Exports of goods and services. What do we export in Nigeria? What? So you know that when you see that 124 billion is all you're headed to. We import more than we export. I wonder why how this figure changed. But again, it's because it's oil. Other things, we import literally everything, including what we wear, is it not? And we're very proud of what we wear. When you go and buy Gucci, Calvin Klein, you want to display it the typical Nigerian way, is it not? So you can see the figures as they show. Again, I had taken the first item when I said that we import virtually everything. The indication is that we're a consumption-driven economy. We are dependent on oil revenue and government spending. It's a natural wealth, it's not a produced wealth, which means we produce virtually little or nothing, right? I'm talking to Nigerians now, true or false? Okay, so we buy virtually everything. Wristwatch, if we're not careful, we'll import granola from Ghana. And because we are oil dependent, when there's trouble in Arab, we benefit, isn't it? So the shock of the oil production affects us. In fact, that's the argument that the finance minister has over the issue of sovereign wealth funds. She insists that the volatility of the economy is dependent on the volatility of the oil price. So when it is 140, we're all celebrating, we're dancing, isn't it? Then when it comes to, one time I hear it was about $15 under Shagari, so all of us were crying. And we think that we need to do something about that. And currently, we're benefiting from what is going on. Well, no need to say that since we all agree that imports we're import dependent. 68 kobo is even too less. You should be saying about 70 to 75 kobo per every naira. And I've told you, you can see our GDP, right? Those figures are wonderful, but to the poor man, it's wonderful to the extent that it should be brought down to this. Now, why is it that our GDP rose from 5.49 in 2008 and we're having 3.50 in 2011? Now, look at power generation. In 2008, we have 3,520 megawatts, serving 150 million Nigerians. So in 2011, it came down to 3,300 megawatts. Not too good, right? We have an inflation rate of 9%. Oil remains the major driver of growth. We already know that. Non-oil sector continues to outperform the oil sector. Agriculture is the highest contributor to GDP, 42%. But do we have mechanized agriculture? Now, this is the sectoral contribution to GDP. You can see agriculture is blue, wholesale and retail trade is red, manufacturing, very tiny, 3.49%, oil and gas, 5.08%, telecom, fast growing. Everybody, and why it's growing very fast in Nigeria is that 150 million Nigerians, let's take out 10 million, carrying 3 phones. That's why it's growing very fast, is it not? It's not because we are holding one phone ourselves and the thing is working. It's simply because you have to buy Econet. Econet is changing every day, so we don't know what name they have now. MTN, Globalcom. So if MTN is not working, you switch over your own to Globalcom. That's how to be a Nigerian. You must have. You don't want to wait for the old telephone system. I've talked about telecom, the building and construction. you must credit the current governors and the president that you have this time around, that there's massive construction in Nigeria. Do you agree to that? You know, people don't. Nigerians are the greatest critics you can have on earth. You criticize all of us, and I enjoy you when you criticize us. But you must, in your bedroom, admit to the fact that there is massive construction going on in the different states and in the federation. True or false? And like Obasanjo, I heard, I don't know whether it's true, I've not read it, that he said that the problem of Nigeria that 250 years to get to cannot take 4 years to fix. Is it not? It can't even take 8 years. It means that Nigerians must be patient, and we lack a little bit of that. Then the labor even grew in 2010, and our GDP is 7.9%. Urban unemployment is 25%. Unemployment in the ages of 18 to 25, 40. Low national savings ratio, 23% of GDP. If you compare it to other countries, I don't think anybody should say, why do they think we're not doing well? At 23%, after all, Germany is 26%. You can see that, right? No need to talk about oil prices. You already know about our oil production average is strong and above 2. And this 2.0 million barrel per day is because of the Niger Delta, the fact that there's Niger Delta, there's peace in Niger Delta. So this no longer for you Nigerians, but for non-Nigerians, those who say there is no peace in Niger Delta, the greatest indication to peace is production of oil. When there was crisis in the Niger Delta, we were producing 700,000 barrels per day. Now we're doing 2.02 or 2.2 million barrels per day. So there's an improvement, and therefore an indication that there is peace in the Delta. If there wasn't peace, oil is highly foreign labor dependent. Nigerians don't know how to bring oil from the ground, so it's foreigners. If they come to Nigeria to take oil, they can't stay in Kano or Abuja or Lagos to take the oil. They must come to the Niger Delta. The fact that they come and take 2.02 million barrels per day is an indication that there's security in that. You can see our accounts. We have reserves of 13%. You have excess crude account, 340%, which is 2.2 billion. I thought it's much more than that. Microeconomy. It's true. We're trying to reduce our dependence on oil and gas. And to do that, you need to insulate the economy from these shocks that come from the oil and gas and meet our Millennium Development Goals. But the basic thing to do is to focus on agriculture. And most governors are heading there now. I'm sure that the next National Economic Council that will take place on the 29th of September will deal with that issue, on the issue of focusing on agriculture as an alternative to oil and provide employment for Nigerians. Because the greatest threat to security is unemployment. And you have seen that it's 25% there. We are trying to be the financial hub for the sub-Saharan Africa, and then and see how much the financial sector can drive the economy. But basically, there's a bank MD here, is to ask the banks how much they are doing to encourage such investment, because the banks actually hardly give loans. There's only one bank person here. Stop laughing at him. We're trying. If we are 41 in the world, among the top economies, Nigeria is 41. Is it true? We're trying. Aren't we? Now, beyond oil and gas, there's an improvement in power. Forget the figure you have now. What I mean by improvement in power is that the current administration is focusing on how to develop power. There are a series of meetings, there are a series of studies going on and investment in that regard to improve power to between 10 and 20,000 megawatts in the next 4 to 5 years. A lot of infrastructure projects are going on, the seaport reforms, the road, East-West Road, the rail projects, they are working on all that. We hope that in the next 4 years that there will be big development in the area of infrastructure. Tourism. I read yesterday, I took my time from UK to America. I read Chinua Achebe's The Trouble with Nigeria. And he says it's only a masochist that can come to Nigeria as a tourist. No, but don't forget that book was written around 1983. That's when that book was written. In fact, somebody accosted me in the plane and said, "Please, can I borrow this book?" I said, "No, I'll give you. I just finished it. You can, you can take it." Now, but I warned the person. A lot of things in that book, in that pamphlet, appear to have changed because the country has moved forward. There's a lot of improvement. In terms of tourism, Cross River State is doing well. You know, it wasn't there when they weren't doing as well as they're doing now when Achebe wrote that book. I'm just one person who has a problem with height. If not, I'd have gone to their famous Obudu Ranch. And everybody who has been there said you don't need to go overseas for vacation. All you need to do is take a flight to that place. But, you know, I'm not too good with flying to places that are mountainous and all that and all that. I don't want to run into any problem. My wife has been there. She said it was wonderful, that you can hardly wake up in the morning because you just have to have rest. Now, if you look at what Shema put forward, again, you can see a lot of tourism potentials there and a lot of agriculture. We are going for when I present the that of River State, you will hear me say about my meeting with an Israeli company outfit in the last 3 days, where we're trying to build farming settlement, quite expensive, about $146 million for the farming, about 3 farm settlement. Now it will have 100 houses each, and the 100 families will live in each of the farm settlements. They are to grow the crops and then create employment for people and sell the commodities that they're able to produce and pay back the state government. So a lot of us are involved in agriculture, not just because we want to produce food, but because we also want to create employment opportunity. So Nigeria, in fact, the best form of investment, if you ask me, a layman, in Nigeria, is agriculture. You won't look for the market. Take oil palm, for instance. You have, apart from, let's just leave out the other sources for which you can put oil palm to and create it for edible purposes. 150 million Nigerians, you can't go wrong. You certainly can't. I tell people, I say, Nigerians don't have a choice. They must eat, whether you like it or not. If you don't eat, what will happen? You will die. So the best form of investment in Nigeria for that kind of population, if I were to make an investment decision, will be agriculture. Now, I have to rush because I have to go to that of River State. Oh, I'm almost at the end. You have seen the forecast of what it will look like 2012, between 2010 and 2011. Then total factor productivity growth rate. All this can only work if we put all the factors together. Like, you know, when you were in secondary school, you have this, what do they call it? Factors of production. If they don't come together, they will never work. Regardless of the odds that confront Nigeria, the opportunities for businesses abound. It is virgin territory, but it's also ripe and open for business. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. Did I take the 10 minutes?
Yes. No, you actually took...
less than 10?
No, more than 10.
Oh.
That's okay.
You know, it's easy to criticize than to... If I was in the critique of Nigeria, about 5 minutes, I would be through.
Go on to your next one.
Now, I can tell you I know a lot about River State. 8 years as Speaker, nearly 4 years as Governor. I should know a lot about River State. Let me begin by saying that this is not my first time at Woodrow Wilson. My friend, Mrs. Mary Coleman, used to be here, and she invited me once to visit her here, and I came. But quickly to say that River State is the highest oil-producing state in Nigeria and the highest gas-producing state in Nigeria. So we are highly oil-dependent, which means we contribute quite a lot to the development of Nigeria. And our population is 5.1 million persons. I used to think it was 6 until I got the figures right. We are the 6th most populous state in Nigeria. This is not correct to say. It's correct to say the second largest economy in Nigeria with a GDP of 21.07. Again, this is a world-class GDP. Go to World Bank, you will see it. But the point remains that we need this GDP to translate into people's pockets. It's not there. Now, that's the population figure in Nigeria. I don't know. Already we say that we're the highest oil producing state. This month, if they were to pay us the money for this month, we usually get higher than everybody else when it comes to federation account, not in terms of tax. Lagos gets the highest in terms of tax. GDP per state, Lagos is highest, we follow next. Revenue allocation, you've seen that already. No, but the new figure has changed. It's no longer 14.3 to 13.8. We are higher than Akwa Ibom now. The one as released by CBN. We are doing badly because we're an oil-producing state, and our land has been polluted by the oil companies, both American oil companies and British oil companies. Mobil is in River State, and Mobil is American, isn't it? You can see how it is that we're not also, Lagos is highest in terms of trade, but we are also resource rich. We have virgin land. We have the largest oil palm estate in West Africa, 16,000. We are focusing on another 20,000 now. We are talking with some group to develop another 20,000 hectares of oil palm. That is basically because we want to create employment. We have a rubber estate which we are trying to rebuild. We already signed an agreement with Sofinco of Belgium. They are to bring their money, not us. In 10 years, they are to put in 20 billion naira. We have 2 seaports, 2 airports. In fact, the only state with 2 airports in Nigeria. And then several road networks. We have strong federal presence, large pool of skilled and unskilled labor. We have 3 tertiary institutions, not 2. University of Education, University of Port Harcourt, and River State University of Science and Technology. Yes, we used to have a huge expatriate community. They ran away when the crisis started. They're heading back to Port Harcourt. Sab Miller has its headquarters. Sab Miller, the mill beer. They have their headquarters in Nigeria, in River State. You can see our funds, right? First Bank. You can see the activities of the banks in River State. You can see that. Our consumption. Where do you come in? Power. We are the first, and if care is not taken, the largest power producing state in Nigeria. We currently have 560 megawatts of power. And the state needs only 400 megawatts. Why don't we have constant power supply in River State? There are some problems with the law. The law allows federal government alone to distribute. So we have generated, and we're begging federal government to allow us to distribute. I hope that they will listen to us because we've been fighting over that issue. There is monorail under construction, 21 kilometers of monorail. I've talked about oil, I've talked about agriculture. An Israeli company is currently constructing a fish farm, 900 tons of fish farm. I've told you about the discussion with the Israeli company and the oil palm estate of 20,000 hectares. We're involved in a lot. We have a Songhai farm, 300 hectares of Songhai farm. If you've been to Port Novo, you see one there. Our house is a bit larger than that. Manufacturing? Well, manufacturing is highly dependent on oil, plastics and all that. We know we have petrochemical industry in River State. I just signed off with somebody, a company that's bringing another petrochemical industry at Onne. We have Greater Port Harcourt Development Authority. We are trying to create a new city out of Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt appears to be congested, so we're expanding. And we put the law in place. We are developing the new city currently. And the phase 1 is starting this September, where we will have shopping malls, housing estates, industrial centers, and all that. One assurance I will give you about that is that you will never, when the city is ready, you will never hear about NEPA has taken light. The water, we're involved in a water scheme, and we're struggling hard to make sure that we get water to everybody. Tourism potentials, okay, we have good hotels and all that. We may not be as good as Cross River, but you can be happy staying in Port Harcourt. Education. Last year, we were given the first position as the most progressive state in education. You may find time to look at the kind of primary schools and secondary schools and the new university that we are building and what is going on. We are currently engaging an Indian firm to manage our new secondary schools, 24 of them at 4.5 billion naira per school, which means, and that schools will be 1,000 students per school, 2 children per room, en suite, toilet, bathroom for in each room. So 2 children will stay and not have any contact with anybody else when they go into their room. 25 per class, meeting UNICEF standard, not more than 25 per class. Primary school, 30. That is the standard in Britain, 30 per class, not more than 30 per class, so that the children will be able to know their teachers. We're looking at the teacher-child ratio. I think that's one area we've done well, the area of education. Another area that we've also done well is health. We've done well in health. We're currently signing an agreement with GE under a PPP arrangement where they are to build a tertiary institution, health institution in Rivers State that will be able to take 1,000 bed. We want to begin to do medical tourism in Port Harcourt. So I just felt you should have this. I'm not up to 10 minutes, just to make sure that I keep to. I'll be able to do the discussion when you ask your questions. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and we'll move right on. And I was particularly impressed by your focus on 2 things, agriculture and power. I think that's extremely important. And now we'll move promptly over to His Excellency, the Governor of Katsina State, Ibrahim Shehu Shema.
Mr. Stephen McDonald, Director of African Program and Project Leadership, Building State Capacity, Woodrow Wilson International Center. Ambassador Sanders, my colleagues, state governors from Nigeria, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the protocols earlier announced. I must begin by expressing my appreciation for this opportunity to come here and talk about Katsina State. In terms of investment potentials and opportunities, especially since this is a forum of new Nigerian business investment and development opportunities. First and foremost, Katsina, I don't know if we have the PowerPoints ready for Katsina. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Katsina is one of the northernmost parts of states in Nigeria. It has a population of about 6 million as at the last census. And I believe we should have by now about 6.5 million people total population expected in Katsina State. The area is about 24,192 square kilometers of land size, of land mass. Thank you. Our climate composed of 2 seasons, dry and wet seasons. And the preoccupation of our people in Katsina is farming. The composition of the tribes in Katsina is Hausa Fulani, and the official language is English. Average temperature ranges between 21 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade. Katsina State is keenly interested in partnership and investment to develop business potentials in Katsina with partners from across the globe. Major investment areas to be exploited in Katsina State could be classified broadly into 3 categories. Number 1 is agricultural sector. Number 2 is solar minerals, a mining sector. And number 3, the educational development in the state. There are so many other investment potentials in the field of housing, health, and other sectors of similar importance. Our major cash crops in agriculture overview includes the production of cereals, that is guinea corn, groundnut, cotton, soya beans, seed, beans, rice, wheat, maize or corn, fruits and vegetables, millets, and indeed potential for development of exotic flowers for exportation to Europe and other parts of the globe. Livestock production and cattle rearing is a major preoccupation in Katsina State. Nomadic cattle routes extend from Niger and Chad Republic in the northern part of West Africa and runs for more than 900 kilometers away from Katsina, i.e. up to Lagos. Therefore, there are abundant opportunities for processed beef, livestock, and poultry products. There are opportunities in animal husbandry and large-scale poultry and poultry farming. Katsina has a long tradition of rearing livestock, and it excels in ruminant animal production like hides and skin, for example. We have so many companies that are in Katsina. Currently, we are talking to some Italian firms that are interested in setting up a hides and skin factory in Katsina. We have the Moroccan leather that is very popularly known in Europe, that is used for the production of bags, shoes, and leather products. We have about 1 million cattle and 3 million goats and 2 million sheep currently. And the state government is keen on expanding the capacity of the year-round farming, that is irrigation. As of 2007, when I came into office, only about 300 hectares were being cultivated in Katsina through irrigation. We had abundant water bodies that were not utilized for a very long time. There are big dams that existed before I came into office, but were hardly utilized for agriculture. Now, when we came, we realized the potentials and importance of agriculture in economic well-being of our people. We decided to encourage the expansion of irrigation scheme to about 13,000 hectares in the last 2 years. These water bodies, about 4 of them, are strategically located. This is an example of one of the dams we have in Katsina. And the 3 main ones have estimated capacity to irrigate about 50,000 hectares. And more than 106,000 hectares of virgin forest is available for irrigation as well. There are opportunities for development of orchards. That is, you can grow from citrus to mango farms. Gum arabic is being tried. And jatropha for the production of biofuel is also a very good avenue to try and develop investment opportunities. Agriculture, being the mainstay of the economy of Katsina, offers huge potentials for not only the locals to get meaningfully employed, but also for investors coming from across the world to invest and actually reap in that investment by partnering with the private sector and with the government of the state to expand the potentials of agriculture in the state. The next sector I would like to quickly consider is the solid minerals area. Katsina is blessed with abundant mineral resources, and quite a number of them are in commercial quantities. Prominent among such are gold, iron ore, kaolin, silica sand, asbestos, feldspar, serpentine, precious stones such as diamond, nickel, copper, and then tantalite, columbite, and tin. All these are easily found in quite a number of local governments in the state. Kaolin is abundant in 27 local governments, as you can see. Some of the local people are, already exploiting the potential of kaolin. Iron ore occurs in 5 local government areas, and feldspar occurs in 7 local government areas of 34 local governments we have in the state, and is presently being supplied to Royal Ceramics in Nigeria. Artisanal gold miners are doing small mining activities in some of the local governments that are said to have mining deposits for gold. The same thing with the quartiles deposits in Batagara local government area. This is equally available for potential investors to work with us. Tantalite and columbite occurs in 15 local government areas mined by artisanal miners. Silica sand occurs in 2 local government areas and is presently being supplied to glass manufacturing companies. Commercial potential of cash crops and solid metals in Katsina State provide good raw materials base for industries such as flour mills, textiles, steel, glass, ceramics, and mining. There's an investment development company owned by the state government that is contributing to the moving of development partnership with international interested business investors. There are also potentials for value-added processing, packaging, and international marketing, especially in the ECOWAS sub-region of West Africa. There is big market in West Africa for agro and agro-allied industries and agricultural products. Katsina certainly is blessed with a lot of potentials in not only the field of agriculture and livestock development, but investment in other critical sectors, for example, power. Currently, we are working to ensure that the power supply in the state gets a boost. We have a 10 megawatts windmill project that is ongoing in the state. And we hope we can be able to partner with other investors to improve on that. Because power supply forms the basis of rapid development of industry anywhere in the world. The diamond finds that I mentioned earlier on, this is as a result of a survey conducted by Patterson Grant and Watson Limited of Toronto, Canada, who are the consultants that carried out the interpretation of recently flown airborne aeromagnetic survey in Kafur and some other locations in Katsina State that indicated the existence of large quantity of diamond deposits. And indeed, the magnetic data so far in Kafur indicated the kimberlite and a prominent magnetic anomaly in the northeast of that part. And the second one equally indicated a good-looking kimberlite target that can be very well exploited. The Kafur kimberlite and nearby targets are recommended for further investigation by interested investors. Let me quickly say here that indeed Nigerian democracy is just growing. The opportunities are huge. The potentials are enormous. True, we have a young and growing democracy in the last 12 years. We cannot claim to succeed 100% with an experiment just within 12 years that other nations, giant democracies like America, have worked for over 200 years to achieve. So we're working hard, we're hopeful, we're confident, with credible elections in place, with more effort on security and fight against corruption, with more focus on the economy, indeed, more focus on the oil, agriculture, and solid minerals, creating job opportunities for our people, targeted towards eradicating poverty, the export on oil, agriculture, and other solid minerals. If they are given boost, Nigeria is on its march to greatness. I have no doubt in my mind that working hard with partners and friends across the globe, Nigeria can move to the next level of developed nation. Agriculture, as you have heard from our chairman of the Governors Forum, has contributed the highest to the GDP, or is one of the highest contributors to GDP in the country. If we harness agricultural resources very well, along with the resources from oil and solid minerals, I have no doubt that Nigeria's quest for development in the year 2020 is achievable. The Songhai farm investment in other parts of Nigeria are of interest to us because we are very keenly interested in getting partners, especially talk in the field of agriculture. In Katsina, we provided a platform for free education. In the last 4 years, every child going to public school in Katsina acquires education for free. Health sector, we have not left behind. We are putting together a 250-bed orthopedic hospital, the first of its kind in Nigeria, to be owned by a state government. We don't have large income, yes, but we work hard with whatever little resources we have to ensure that we move our state and our people forward. We have ambition to ensure that our people get productively employed, our resources get well harnessed for the benefit of the all in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, commercial and industrial credit incentives for small businesses are also of interest to us. Organizations and companies and financial institutions that are interested in working with the government of the state to develop this very important and critical tool of empowering people to get into businesses, get up and work, are of interest to the government and people of Katsina State. And by way of a quick comment, I would like to say that probably the question of third term by governors, I'm sure my colleague here will testify to that, is still a matter of just political talk. This thing started before. Growing democracies must learn from democracies that are advanced. We must be focused on precisely what makes democracy succeed and what makes it fail. We must not lose our sense of democracy by trying to do things that may not encourage the progress and development of democracy. So therefore, let me assure this forum that while Katsina is willing to partner with one and all and every interested investor with opportunity for tax breaks in the state, complete government support, infrastructural development is ongoing, and I have a feeling that this forum will offer opportunity for not only Katsina, but the rest of the states in Nigeria to partner and grow our young democracy and our young state and our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for a very inspiring and very pragmatic and realistic presentation. When I saw the list of Tantalite and Columbite, I decided to buy a ticket tonight and go right out there and start buying. I got to beat out my competitors here. Okay. If you agree, Excellencies, we will keep the questions until after the third presentation. So we will move directly to His Excellency, the Governor of Cross Rivers, Leo Imoke.
Thank you. Let me thank the organizers of this forum, Africa and the Woodrow Wilson Center, particularly Steve McDonald and Ambassador Sanders for putting this together. I think the topic, the New Nigeria, is indeed very apt, and it's something that we all would like to talk to and would like to expatiate on. Talking about business, investment, and development opportunities in Cross River State is something that for us we're particularly pleased to be doing today here in this particular venue. I will try and keep to the impossible task of talking about Cross River in 10 minutes. Basically, this presentation seeks to talk about one of the most dynamic states in Nigeria today. It also presents information on investment and business opportunities in that environment. Of course, the presentation is done with an appreciation of the fact that our chairman of the Governors Forum has already spoken about the larger economy, the Nigerian economy. I'll try and focus briefly on the state's profile, and that's captured on this slide. Just some background information, but what is key is that the current growth rate of our economy is slightly above the national growth rate at 6.33%. The state's economy, it's fairly diverse. Our rate on returns on investment in most sectors of our economy, including the agricultural sector, is still quite high by any standards, and it's in the region of about 30%. Cross River State, of course, is extremely rich in mineral and natural resources. It's one of the host, or it's a host to the largest remaining tropical forest in Africa, with significant carbon stocks. There's over 1 million hectares of forest reserves in Cross River, and it's one of the 25 biodiverse hotspots on Earth. In terms of focus of government and government policy, our major policy and development thrusts are listed here, focusing significantly again in agriculture and agro-processing. A lot has been said about the tourism industry and its potentials, and of course other social infrastructure and social amenities are key in terms of government. We've also focused on increasing our productivity in our economy. There's a lot of investment going on, as my chairman said, in the development of infrastructure across the state. In terms of policy, again, government focus, we pay significant attention to security. We have a most peaceful and serene environment, and Cross River is acknowledged as the cleanest and greenest state in Nigeria. We're very responsive in terms of policy to the poor and the less privileged, including, of course, the provision of a free healthcare system. Business environment, as Ambassador Sanders mentioned, it's probably the first economic zone, we hope, that will be designated in the country in the next few months. It already has 2 free trade zones, and of course these remain sources of potential growth. They're growth drivers for our economy in Cross River, having the presence of the Calabar Free Trade Zone and of course the Tinapa Retail Free Trade Zone. Foreign direct investment over the last 4 years have been quite significant into the state. I'm still talking about the business environment. Clearly, we paid attention to small and medium scale enterprises. As can be seen, we believe that Cross River State is one of the best entry points for new businesses in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we're fully committed, in the state in particular, to investment promotion and to growing entrepreneurs and businesses. And we're working very closely with various agencies, including the World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies in that regard. We also have a one-stop shop for investors who are keen on coming to do business in Cross River. We have a skilled workforce, 1.8 million people literate. We're very young, vibrant, educated, and dynamic young people, and they're all eager and willing to participate in our economy. Again, still expatiating about the skilled workforce, we particularly paid attention to the education sector. Like my colleague in Rivers State and my chairman said, we are paying more and more attention to skills development, education, and technology. We think by so doing, we'd position ourselves appropriately to cater to a sector or the sectors that are non-oil. A service-driven economy is key for us. I'll talk briefly about key sectors, in particular agriculture. Again, agriculture, like in most states, is one of the state's largest sectors. It accounts for 42% of our GDP. And of course, Cross River has significant expanse of land. And given those expanses of land, we have 3 geographical or climate conditions, climate zones, right from the heavy tropical rainforest right down to the savanna. And that provides excellent opportunities for development of various crops, ranging from oil palm, of course, rubber, cocoa, plantation, and so on, for which we are either the first or the second in terms of total production in Nigeria. Speaking further on agriculture, clearly, if you look at what we have on this slide, you can see that there's still tremendous opportunity for growth of the sector. A number of crops which I've mentioned are being produced, but again, we haven't seen the type of rate of growth in agro-processing, and we're beginning to see a number of investors coming in those areas particularly. So yes, we have a huge population, we have the capacity, we have the land, and we have the resources to continue to grow that sector at more than double-digit rates. Again, the rate of return for various crops, of course, they vary from crop to crop, but the important thing for us is a value chain and integration, and we're going to see a lot of that in various sectors, cocoa processing and oil palm in particular. Another sector that we like to talk about a lot is tourism. We proudly claim to be Africa's warmest welcome. We consider ourselves to have a range of diverse offerings. We have some of the world's last remaining tropical and mangrove forest, scenic waterfalls, and a host of other natural assets and tourist offerings. Cross River is certainly becoming a destination of choice for tourism in the sub-region. The sector is growing at quite a fast rate, much faster than the other sectors of the economy for obvious reasons. The rate of growth at 10.9% over the last 4 years has seen significant investment, and of course that has forced us to look into regulation and management of the sector. It's a relatively new industry, tourism in Nigeria, and of course from what my colleague said, you will understand that after Chinua Achebe's statements about masochism and tourism in Nigeria. So it's a new industry, but tremendous potential to create jobs and to grow our economy. And I think it's something that we are beginning to take full advantage of. Tourism has grown so rapidly in Cross River over the last 10, 11 years. And of course, we've been particularly focused on that. So it's contributing to a significant portion of our GDP. We have, from our various tourist events and exciting offerings, we have about 1.4 million visitors now to the state every year. We have a series of events on our calendar, and we're continuing to expand that. We've positioned ourselves basically as a major destination in Nigeria. And like I said, we're experiencing significant growth, very significant growth in those areas. I'll talk also briefly about infrastructure. Cross River State, of course, is one of the oldest state capitals with well-established infrastructure. This infrastructure, which is already in place, provides the basis for growth and, of course, supports investment in major sectors, investment in manufacturing, mining, commerce, and, of course, in agriculture. We've also seen further development, recent development of gas infrastructure in the area. Incentives. I think clearly any investor who wants to come into Nigeria, and particularly to that part of Nigeria, would be looking to what incentives are available. We've just put up on the board a few of the incentives that are available. As an administration, we are driven by a proactive investment agenda. And of course, incentives are dynamic. We can tailor those incentives to fit the needs of potential investors. Some of the incentives, again, are listed here. And of course, we have a legal and regulatory environment that is particularly supportive of the private sector in Nigeria. Just so you know that you're not going to be alone, these are some of the major investors who are already enjoying important market share and taking advantage of the opportunities by being located in Cross River State. They include Lafarge, Transcorp, Adax Petroleum, and several others, Dangote, and much more. There's a list. The list is quite lengthy. Our future outlook, our forecasted economic growth is conservatively put at 7.5%. For us, this remains conservative. We think we can do better, but we'll stick with these figures. We are optimistic of continued growth in key sectors of the economy, particularly agriculture, manufacturing, and of course tourism. The designation of Calabar as a gas hub should also facilitate that growth by providing gas for industry. And we're particularly focused on ensuring that that becomes a reality. The state government has embarked on a number of major projects, and there are significant opportunities to partner with us in those areas. Those projects are aimed at positioning our economy as the leading service economy in Nigeria. I think we've come to terms with the fact that we're moving away from oil and gas, and I believe that that is the focus of this. Some of the key projects that we're focusing are listed here. A lot of them have to do with services and the service industry, but I'd like to particularly mention the Calabar International Conference Center, which, of course, we intend to complete to enhance our position as the leading MICE destination in Nigeria and in the West African sub-region. Opportunities. Well, there are opportunities for significant returns on your investment. Probably the best returns you can find anywhere in the world today. Those returns can be made in a peaceful, serene environment in Cross River. Again, I thank you, and I see you soon in Cross River State.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to bring the next panel up, and we'll just do the first one.
At the end? Why don't we take a couple now?
Yeah, take it.
Okay, thank you, Governor. I'm very impressed with this panel. I'm quite sure that all of these governors, when they wake up in the morning, the first thing they think of is, how are we going to enhance the welfare of our people today? So we have very short time, but I think we can take a couple of questions. Make them brief, no speeches, please, and address them to a specific governor, please. Yes, right here in the middle. Go ahead. Yes. Wait for the microphone. Okay.
My name is Sam Snoops, managing partner with Gulf of Guinea Energy Fund, former director for Africa with OPIC. Governor Michi, you've spoken about the expansion of the Port Harcourt city, and I know Governor Mugke, you spoke about the energy city. I was wondering if you could comment on the status of the East-West Highway and the coastal highway from Lagos to Calabar, and how that infrastructure may help collaborations in terms of development corridors between your two cities, your regions, if you will?
Okay, this is a question about the East-West Highway from Lagos to Calabar. Which one of your excellencies wants to comment on that?
The East-West Highway does not go to Calabar, does it? Ultimately. But the current East-West Highway terminates at Eket in Akwa Ibom State, and the federal government is working on it. They are currently at Bori for those who are coming from Eket, and then for the ones coming from Benin, they are currently at University of Port Harcourt, basically to open the corridor in terms of transportation of goods and services to Lagos, where they have the market. Now, that's a question that I should have left for him to answer, because the South-South governors form what we call a BRICS Commission. BRICS Commission is an attempt by the South-South governors to regionalize the economy of the South-South. And BRICS Commission is made up of Bayelsa as B, Rivers as R, Akwa Ibom as A, Cross River as C, Edo as E, and Delta as D. That's why it's called BRICS Commission. Now, the idea is to integrate our economy and ensure that we have a common purpose, and in areas of advantage, competitive advantage, will allow you to focus on that. That's why you can hear us talk about Cross River and the issue of tourism. Now, there are so many issues involved on the issue of East-West Road. It depends on which one you want to hook up to. There is the one by the NDDC and the Ministry of Niger Delta that has to go through all the Niger Delta states. It has a rail and it has a road. It's called the Coastal Road. Yeah, and I don't know how far the federal government is going with that. Obviously, they are at the design stage, and it's going to cost trillions and trillions of naira. I don't know how much that will be in dollars. But basically, let me talk about the development in Port Harcourt. We believe that Port Harcourt is congested. It's the most cosmopolitan area, south, and southeast. Virtually everybody comes to do business around Port Harcourt. We obviously have an international airport where Air France and Lufthansa take off from. So a lot of business activity take place there. And the Niger Delta of states around the south and southeast, some travel away from out of the country from that area. And the business is huge. So because of the volume of business that goes on, of course, as the second largest economy in Nigeria, we think that we can expand the city. And we've started the expansion process. We're currently constructing road. In fact, we're constructing a parallel road to the East-West Road, beginning from the international airport, terminating at the Onne Seaport. I did mention to you here that we have two seaports. We have two airports, one local, one international. And so it's quite open for activity, depending on which is your interest. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I'm afraid we've run out of time. We need time for the next panel. So, governors, if you follow me, we'll go around.
Can I invite the governors of Benue, Imo, and Ogun to please take your seats for panel 2? And may I invite the moderator for panel 2 also to the stage. And while that transition is going on, let me note that Ambassador Adefoye has arrived. I also want to recognize the staff of Woodrow Wilson and Africare for their hard work on this. Derek and Ali and Sarah and Pitty and Martha from the Nigerian Embassy, as well as all the Nigerian staff. I know that former Senator Ken Namani is here. I did see him earlier. I wanted to note him while the transition is taking place. I also want you to be aware that this is being webcast live, and it's going out on the internet as we are doing the program this morning. This brings us to panel 2. Our first speaker will be His Excellency, the Governor of Benue State. He governs a state called the breadbasket of Nigeria, given that most or a good bit of the nation's produce comes from his region right now. He has a large state with arable land, with things like rice production and dairy farming and moving forward in all those areas. Following His Excellency of Benue State will be His Excellency of Ogun State. And first of all, Your Excellency, congratulations on being newly elected as governor to your state, a state both rich in culture, agriculture, housing development, construction, and port opportunities. Ogun is also the home to the largest number of universities in Nigeria, and he will be followed by His Excellency from Imo State. Congratulations also to His Excellency for also being newly re-elected. Imo State, I've visited many times as well. It's a significant tourism state. It has some oil reserves and has one of the largest rubber and palm oil fields in Nigeria. Our panel 2 moderator is Mr. Wale Adesun, managing partner of Koramo Capital, a New York-based investment equity firm with a global reach. He previously served as CIO for Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and managing director in the investment office of the MacArthur Foundation. We have worked together on Nigerian higher education projects in the past, and he is also a great philanthropist in that regard. Mr. Adesun, please. Thank you for coming, and we turn over panel 2 to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Let me say thank you to Robin, Ambassador Sanders, and Steve Thompson, and all of us responsible for putting this session together, Africare and Constituency for Africa. Just like everybody else has done, I'll say all protocols observed, particularly Your Excellency, the Consul General for Nigeria. I will not take too much time here, but as I must just say, as an investor in Nigeria, I think this event is like a testament for what's happening in the country. To invest in the country, the key issue that everybody worries about is political stability and political risk. And as you've seen from the group of governors that were here before, and the group of governors on the days right now too, the transition that's happening in Nigeria, political transition in Nigeria, is a strong testament to what the future holds for the country. So please keep that in mind as you listen to the conversations going forward. I guess as Ambassador Sanders said, the first speaker will be the Excellency the Governor of Benue State.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me express the appreciation of myself and the people of Benue for being invited to this very august event. And let me thank and appreciate Ambassador Sanders and Ambassador Jettas for taking interest in happenings in Nigeria. Nigeria, as all of us know, have suffered a lot from bad press internationally, and an opportunity for Nigerians, especially those of us who are policymakers, to come and interact with international community to show that Nigeria is not necessarily what the press portrays us to be. It's an opportunity that we should all appreciate. And I want to appreciate this great American woman, and Jettas, who was there before her, for giving us this opportunity to show that, yes, the environment is ripe for investment from international bodies. Benue State is one of the 36 states of the country, relatively new in terms of when it was created. It's located within the central belt of that country. And as she said, Benue State is basically an agricultural state with a land mass of about 30,955 kilometers. We are made up of 23 local government with a population of about 4.7 million, comprising 3 ethnic nationalities. Occupies the southern part of the Guinea savanna belt with a fair blend of grassland and trees. Benue State faces challenges just like any other state in terms of capital investment that is available for investment in the state. It is not a very wealthy state like Rivers State. Like I said, we're basically an agricultural state. We enjoy an annual rainfall of about 1,105 to 1,600 millimeters spread over a period of 7 months. Traverse the Benue State is the River Benue, which Benue is named after. It's one of the longest rivers in that country, which moved down to the Cameroons and the Lake Chad. It also have a season of dry season of about 5 months, spanning from November to March. Average temperature 21 to 32 degrees centigrade. Relative humidity between 70 and 90. We have very fertile soil, well-drained alluvial soil, which favors the growth of a wide range of cereals and tuber crops. Benue State is one of the highest producers of yams, which is similar to cassava. Most people don't know what yam is. Especially the Americans, but they know what cassava is. We, as a state, our mission and vision is to be among the leading states in Nigeria in terms of unity, equity, justice, integrity, transparency, respect for human rights, good governance, and social economic prosperity. Our mission is to uplift Benue to greater heights through the introduction of fiscal discipline in public expenditure, improve service delivery, building partnership for development and sustainability in the use of exhaustible resources. That is the reason why we're excited being here too. For people who are interested in investing in agriculture, land is not the issue. Very fertile land in Benue, and we have a lot of it available for investment. Some of the comparative advantages that we have as a state in Benue is that we have fertile soil suitable for production of a lot of cash crop like sesame seed. Some people call it Bene seed. We're the highest producers of mangoes and orange juice in Benue, in Nigeria. We're the second largest producer of soya beans in Nigeria. We produce also pineapples, palm fruit, sugarcane, shea nuts, and a host of other crops we produce in Benue. We have large deposits of solid minerals, also virtually or the local government. We house one of the largest cement factory in Nigeria, currently owned by Dangote Cement. It is located in Benue. We also have large deposit of coal. We're currently partnering with an Indian company to use that as a source of energy for the production of electricity in Nigeria. Investment opportunity in agriculture. Yeah, we have about 20 land available, like I said, 21,668.5 kilometers of upland land soil available for rainy season farming. About 364,000 hectares of land available for irrigation farming. Location, the Guinea Savannah. River Benue and Katsina Island provide huge opportunity for fadama operations. We're also partnering with the ADB to build a hydro power. That study has been commissioned. We want to build about 100 megawatts of power plant with ADB. That is ongoing. We have over 80% of population engaged in subsistence agriculture. So what we're looking for is people who can partner with us in the area of commercial agriculture, and that we are currently doing with an Israeli company that have done a survey for us to kickstart commercial agriculture and some farm centers in Benue, where we train the youth, the women, for purposes of engaging in commercial agriculture. Commercial agriculture, as you know, needs and requires technology, which we lack. And so we are employing some experts. And those of you who are interested in investing in agriculture, the environment is secured, it's friendly, it's very peaceful. I'm sure that Ambassador Sanders will testify to the peaceful nature of our state, which is an environment that's friendly for investment. We also produce a lot of livestock in Benue, which I believe that is an area that we could invest to. There's a table. We can move to the table. Yeah, next one. No, maybe you move back. Crop production metric. Yeah, that is the statistics for 2009. Crop production in metric tons. As you can see, you have yams, you have cassava, sesame seed, rice, soybean, sorghum, maize, sweet potato, groundnut, and cocoa yam. Those in metric tons, that is the statistics. So at the level of subsistence, we are doing our best, but we require to enhance and expand agriculture in Benue. These are some of the industries which we have to support agriculture in Benue. We have the Taraku vegetable oil mills in Benue. We have the fish farm. We have this agricultural development, which is a limited liability company that any potential investor can partner with in order to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in Benue. We have a ranch that is not yet fully developed. In the past, we have tried to partner with some company in Argentina that is in the 70s. That is available. The weather there is wonderful, and it's a good place where any investor who is interested in ranching can collaborate or partner with the state. The rural cattle multiplication and breeding center, we are currently partnering with an Israeli company to start a dairy farm with them. That is ongoing, and it's also available because the land is massive for any potential investor who is interested. Benue State, because it is an agricultural state, has an agricultural university. We also have a College of Agriculture and an agricultural training center, a National Street Research Institute, which are all located in Benue to assist the subsistence farmers and enhance agricultural production in Benue. Other areas of opportunities that we have is in the area of tourism and hospitality. We have a large beach corridor spanning hundreds of kilometers from Katsina, as you can see, all the way down to the capital, which is Makedi, which is suitable for a resort by the riverside and hotel development. Currently, we have a Sheraton hotel that was abandoned in the 80s. We are currently partnering with a German company to complete that. We also have a golf course attached to that hotel, and it is by the riverside, so it's a good environment also. Benue State have represented Nigeria in the area of culture. You see, we are a very rich state in terms of culture. I've been here since last week to attend the art exhibition of the Benue Valley organized by the Smithsonian Museum of African Art, just to show how rich we are in the area of culture. We have a zoological garden that is not functioning well, and I believe that it's an area where potential investors would like to take interest. We also have an abandoned wildlife park, strategically located with a very serene atmosphere, where I also believe it's an area where we can partner with any potential investor who is interested in investing in that area. In the area of solid minerals, you can see that Nigeria is a very blessed country. In all the state, virtually all the state, have large deposits of solid minerals. These are potentials as far as they remain underground. And if we have interested partners who can join us in exploiting some of these minerals, I think Nigeria will actualize dreams of becoming the 20th economy in the year 2020. So we have large deposits of limestones in 9 local governments. Like I said, one of the biggest cement factory is located in Benue, owned by Dangote. And that's testimony to the fact that we have a lot of limestone. We have gypsum in commercial quantities in 6 local governments. We have coal. The best quality of coal is found in Benue, and it's estimated that it can be mined for the next 200 years. Currently, like I said, there's an Indian company that have taken interest to use it to generate power in the country. Salt. In virtually all the local government, you find salt in commercial quantities. This mining of this salt has been going on by our forefathers long, but just at the local level. This is also an area that I think people could be interested in the area of investment. Barite is found in 5 local governments, and barite, for those who are in the oil industry, will appreciate the value of barite. We have it in large commercial quantity in 5 local governments in Benue. We have a lot of glass sand available also in 5 local governments in Benue. Clear deposit in 4 local governments, which are named Kaolin deposit, also found in about 4 local governments. All of these are in commercial quantities, but are being mined by the locals, just locally, and this comes to enabling environment for investment. I've stated that we have a very stable political environment. We also have, the area is very secured, and we believe that you need an enabling environment for you to invest. Easy access to land allocation and issuance of titles deeds. This is usually a challenge to investors, but I signed the title deeds, and I can assure you that you don't need any time for you to have that. We, just like any other developing nation, we are saddled with the problem of HIV. The Clinton Foundation have been very instrumental, and some other partners that I met here who have also been helping us in Benue. Areas of collaboration: food processing, agriculture, total sale, existing industry, exploitation and exploration of solid minerals, capacity building are areas that I believe we can partner together. Let me conclude by saying that Nigeria, just like any developing country, have a lot of global challenges. And we, as a nation, have realized that we need to make a difference. And this is why we take advantage of opportunities like this. A lot has been said about Nigeria negatively. What we are trying to do is to portray a different image. And I want to once again appreciate Ambassador Sanders and Jettas for taking interest to bring us to the American metropolitan economy, for us to interact with potential investors, believing that you see a difference in Nigeria, no longer the negative sides that you've heard of or have been talked about in the press. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor Suswan, for the presentation highlighting the opportunities in Benue State, particularly in the area of agriculture. I think if an alien dropped in here now and did not really know that this was a conference on Nigeria, you would think this was a conference on a different country, because Nigeria is generally known for oil and gas, and what you've been hearing so far has been agriculture. And I suspect you'll continue hearing that as well. So the next governor is the governor of Ogun State, Your Excellency Governor Amosun.
Let me thank the organizers for inviting Ogun State. So I want to thank you on behalf of the good people of Ogun State. Let me start by quickly thanking Steve McDonald, Ambassador Robin Sanders, Ambassador Jettas, I saw you there. Good morning. Let me say, as we do in Nigeria, as we say, I want to rest on all the existing protocols that has been established. So good morning, everybody. Yes, we are new, Ogun State, but let me quickly, I am new in Ogun State, but let me talk about Ogun State. Quickly, I'll give you the broad overview of Ogun State. Ogun State, we are about 4 million people with about 16.4 square kilometers. Thank you. Of land area. But let me quickly, before going into tell you the importance of Ogun State, really. Ogun State, I'm sure to almost those that have been to Nigeria will tell you that Ogun State is unique in so many forms. One, indeed, when they want to make jest of us, they will tell you that Ogun State is probably Nigeria, that you are the problem of Nigeria. They tell you like that, they enthuse. And you know why they say that? Because when you even look at those that have actually ruled Ogun State, governed Ogun State, have the privilege of ruling Ogun State, they are almost all of them. They are from, when we talk from the southwest, they are all from Ogun State, from Obasanjo, Shonekan, even Abiola that tried, that actually arguably won the election, all of them from Ogun State. We'll get there. Thank you. Thank you. So for that uniqueness, we are known for so many firsts. I will get there as we go along with the slides when we're talking about our icons of Ogun State. But like I said, we have a land mass of about 16.4 square kilometers with a vegetation that supports, which is what I consider our strength, and that is agriculture, commerce, and industry. But let me again quickly go back to what I'm trying to say about some of our icons. Ogun State is the home of the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka, the great artist Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Yes, move it. President Obasanjo, Abiola of blessed memory. But let me quickly again talk about the location of Ogun State. And one thing that defines Ogun State is our proximity and closeness to Lagos. Ogun State is the New Jersey of Nigeria, really. And we want to make Ogun State to be what New Jersey is to New York. That's what we want to make Ogun State to be to Lagos. From New York to get to New Jersey, you even need to cross the bridge. But from Lagos to get to Ogun State, you don't need any bridge. You just walk over and you're there. So we want to take advantage of all of those. We are known as the Gateway State because of our international border. One, we are bordered by the Atlantic Ocean, that is with the Republic of Benin. And of course, we surrounded Lagos. Let me just put it at that. Anywhere you want to get to, you have to go through Ogun State to get to Lagos. And Ogun State, again, has the busiest road in Africa. The busiest highway is in Ogun State, and that tells you the importance of Ogun State. There's nowhere you want to get to. From Nigeria, if you want to get to Lagos, you must just pass through Ogun State. We have a very highly educated and resourceful, enterprising people in Ogun State. Of course, like I said, our strength lies in agriculture, in commerce, industry, and of course, housing. In the area of agriculture, which is what I consider to be our strength, indeed, let me even say this, and I will seek the indulgence of my other brothers, governors that are seated here, to say that our strength actually lies in agriculture and probably not the oil. Yes, oil is there for us. It should have been icing on the cake for us in Nigeria. But somehow, we just because of oil, we more or less forgot everything about agriculture. But I thank God, everybody, all the states now, everybody's going back to the basics. Before the advent of oil, it was agriculture that redefined Nigeria. And our economy was actually better. Even for us in Ogun State, it was really, really very good. It was agriculture that our founding fathers then used to define everything. The first television station, the first radio station, the first stadium, all of those things was done by agriculture, including even free education. We have the Industrial Revolution then. It was agriculture that defined all of those. So in Ogun State, what are the things that differentiate us? Because of our closeness to Lagos, we have that access there. We have that target audience there. Everything grows in Ogun State, more or less. I listened to my brother from Cross River State when he said, talk about limestone. Well, I was happy that so everybody is gifted. In Ogun State, we have the largest deposit of limestone, the largest deposit of bitumen, even now, the large deposit of asphalt, when you look at it. We have 20 local governments in Ogun State. Out of the 20, 16 of it has large deposit of limestone. And that is no surprise today as we speak that we have about 5. Lafarge, I'll still get to there, Dangote is there. Almost everybody wants to be there, at least to tap into that, our huge resources of limestone. It is not only that. Palm oil is there, cassava, rubber, all the cash and food crops. Now what we seek to achieve is to feed Lagos. And if you're able to feed Lagos, if you're able to not only feed in Lagos, we want to feed Lagos, which we know once we do that, we want to feed ourselves as well, that is Ogun State. We equally, when we are feeding Lagos, Oyo is next door neighbor there. If you're able to achieve that, we'll have been in a position to feed about 30 million people, which will be about 20% of the entire population of Nigeria. And if you're able to feed them, we want to not only feed them, we want to house them. Let me even tell you as we speak today, about 40%, between 35 and 40% of those that work in Lagos, they live in Ogun State. So what does that tell us? We have plenty of these low-hanging fruits in Ogun State, just waiting for investors to come and pluck. We want to feed them, we want to house them, we want to clothe them. And when we do all of those, we will be moving them. And that is an area of transportation. Let me quickly go into commerce now. Because of our closeness to Lagos, because Lagos defines all our economy in Nigeria, our financial center, our economic nerve center, because of our closeness and proximity to Lagos. So all we want to do is to take advantage of that proximity. You will discover that as we speak today, Lagos is more or less saturated. All the companies, where do they want to come to? Of course, they want to come to Ogun State because they have a ready-made market that is there for them in Lagos. So what are we trying to do? We want to take advantage of that. Not only just maybe asking them to come Ogun State, we want to create the enabling environment, which is what we are presently doing. As we speak today, we have almost all of these multinationals. Of course, there's nowhere for them to have their industries. They want to come to Ogun State. We have, like I said, large deposit of limestone. We have tar sand, crude oil. Indeed, we have this crude oil in where we call Tongeji Island. But for me, and I'm sure for people in Ogun State, we believe that, yes, that can be there. There's a lot of other things we want to do. We are known for agriculture. We are known for our industry, for our commerce. Why not go back to the basics and do that? So for investors that will be interested in coming to us, we want to open our door. We want to create that enabling environment for them to come and trade with us. We are going to create what we call A1. We've had my colleagues mentioning it. Those companies that are presently there with us in Ogun State are Shell. Shell is there because we have a gas hub that will service the entire southwest in Ogun State. That will arguably assist all the investors. We know power is key. When they want to come, they want to look at how are we going to power what we want to do. So Shell is there doing that for us. Unilever is there, Dangote, Nestle, Coca-Cola, GSK, Procter & Gamble, NBC, Horse, Lafarge, LG, a host of others. What we seek to do is to have at least, within the next 2, 3, 4 years, to have at least about 500 of these companies to come there. We will readily, I've said it, anybody that wants to come, we will make land available for them. It's like a one-stop. You just go into the internet at the press of a button, apply, you will know how much to pay, and we will encourage you. We will give you pioneer status. We will do everything to talk to the federal government to give you all of those. So to make your coming to Ogun State very, very worthwhile. Finally, before I sit down, let me quickly say this. My other brothers have said it. Yes, we may read about Nigeria, painting Nigeria in negative forms, but let me say this. Nigeria is changing for good. It is not like before. There's a lot of opportunities that is out there waiting for everybody to come and just partake in. We can't do it alone. We recognize that fact. We know we're not perfect, but gradually we are doing it. We are getting it right. And I'm sure with the support of investors, like the audience that we have here, I know that everybody that comes to Nigeria will have a good story to tell. Finally, again, in Ogun State, we are waiting for you. Our doors are wide open. Ogun State doesn't really, because we have the target audience there. We have the market there. It's just next door neighbor. So we're waiting for everybody to come, and we'll be more than willing to make your stay very favorable, very investment beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Governor Amosun, the governor of the New Jersey of Nigeria. And the next and final presentation by Governor Okorocha. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellencies, let me start by thanking the organizers of this program, like many people did, and to say that the only way to prove that Nigeria is a wonderful state is to ask Sanders and Jetta and all ambassadors who have been there. For every of them that has been there has always wanted to come back, which means Nigeria is a great nation. Well, mine is a unique state, very unique indeed, unique in every ramification of life. One, to start with, in democracy, we are unique. Some of you may have watched my election, just became a governor about 100 days ago. And my election is acclaimed the only election that has really proven that democracy could be real in Nigeria. And that's why I had a supplementary election representing truly the people. All have been said about Nigeria and about various states, but one thing is certain, that all the states in Nigeria share a lot of things in common. The agriculture and so many things, it's all about something. But I'm going to discuss with you what makes Imo State unique. Imo State is a unique state, and education is our main industry. So I often refer to Imo State as the center point and brain box of Nigeria. In Imo State, our literacy rate is quite high, very high, higher than any other state in Nigeria. So that is where you're likely going to find the baguettes of Africa. That's also the Chinese of Africa. We can manufacture anything, anytime, any day. So, but what I've done on assumption of office, knowing that we have this great potential, is to say, we introduce what is called the fourth tier of government we have in Nigeria presently: the federal, the state, and the local government. But I have introduced the federal, the state, local, and community government because of the ability of our people to be self-dependent. So Imo State are self-dependent people. Let me talk about security. Most people are worried about security. In Imo State, there's no security problem because we're too busy, either trading, our people are traders. 24 hours we're busy thinking. So you don't have these challenges of 24 hours we're busy, and those of you who are from there can be us witness. So we don't have problem of security. And the corruption issue is non-existent in Imo State, quite frankly, especially as it concerns my government. They have no issue of corruption. So investors are free to come. But on a lighter note, let me say that Nigeria really is writing just their history. What the Nigeria you see today definitely will not be the Nigeria of tomorrow. For those who have branded us terrorists, Nigeria is not a terrorist country at all. What we are saying is that we're just writing history of a nation that once will be declared the biggest nation of mankind. I believe in that country. Great potential. So I'm here to tell you, I'm a businessman. I come from the business perspective. So I'm here to discuss with investors what I need. An area of investment. One, education. We want to supply to the whole world, if possible, the service industry, which is lacking in Nigeria. So we are looking for people who can create special schools, finishing schools, professional schools. We've added to our state advanced professional studies, Imo State advanced professional studies for areas of carpentry, areas of masonry, areas of agriculture, oil and gas, solar power, and so many areas that affect us. We really can look inward. Imo State is thinking about how we can look inward. So any investor that comes to Imo State, you have the manpower ready-made. And you'll be surprised that they know so much, but what they lack is the tools to get things working. So in the educational sector, we welcome all of you who can help us out right now in those specific areas. And we'll guarantee you the number of students that you want, and we'll guarantee you return on your investment. Real estate is wonderful in Imo State. That's the only state that you can get, in 5 years, you can get your investment in real estate. We'll be happy to welcome you. We'll give our land free. We'll give you CFOs, certificate of occupancies, and we have discussed with the federal government to assure that anytime we have any investor, we'll give you 15 years tax exemption. We can guarantee you that our ambassador is here, that we can give you the number of years you want in terms of visa without working visa, so you don't have problem with that. We're in a hurry to deliver. My government, we're in a hurry to deliver, and we look at things from the business perspective. Now, we have one of the largest, biggest, the poultry farm called Avot Poultry, 7 kilometers square. We're looking for investors in this area. We don't have the technological know-how as to make it more functional. So we'll be more than happy to welcome somebody today. And we're ready to give you the property and sign for you and support you because River State, they're my neighbors. All this we have spoken from the southern eastern part of the country, they're my neighbors. From Imo State to River State is 45 minutes drive. So also to Enugu State, to Anambra State, to Delta State. So we're uniquely put as the heartland of the entire place. So if you come to our state and invest, you'll be having 30 million customers for your palm, for your distance. So I'm not talking about my own population alone. I'm talking about the population of the entire area. So we'll be more than happy to have you to come to invest in that area. Again, our palm produce, our palm plantation, we have Rivers, yes, has more than we have, but we have 6,000 square meters of palm plantation. And ours, the history has it that the Malaysia that became Malaysia today came from my state. The palm tree that made Malaysia came from Imo State. So you can see there's the favor of God on that state. So we'll be happy to have partners, and we're trying to develop another 20,000 square meters of the palm plantation. We have a bit of everything. We have oil in Imo State. We're gas rich. So for those of you who want to invest in fertilizer plant, you are more than welcome because we're the second largest gas deposit in Imo State. And we have one of the most beautiful lakes, which has not been developed. That's why it's like as a virgin stage, the Uguta Lake of Treasure. Very beautiful, blue in color. You go there, you see how great that place is. And we're looking for investors. The different part of it is that we guarantee our investors. We guarantee you. So if you say your problem is that you want to make $20 million every month, we guarantee you because we know.
I want to kill me now. Chairman. What am I doing here?
Because to be honest, this discussion we're having here ends up in dollars and pounds. So we want to make sure that whatever you need in terms of investment, Imo State will be ready for you. It's a wonderful, beautiful state with the highest manpower. Literacy rate is quite high, like I told you. So you cannot lack anything in terms of, and the labor is cheap, very cheap labor. So we're guaranteeing our investors with cheap labor, we're guaranteeing you with investment, we're guaranteeing you everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Okorocha, the governor of the Brainbox state of Nigeria, who has guaranteed every investor a return. Unfortunately, in the interest of time, we do not have any time for Q&A.
We have a little bit. We have about 8 minutes or so. We can get to Q&A.
A few questions? Okay. Gentleman in front.
I'm Richard Hines. I had a consultancy here in Washington dealing with business development, and I have a question for the Roaches. I've had the pleasure to work with you as an international representative of the Nigerian Red Cross, and I know your focus is larger than your state that you now govern, in addition to your activities with the Roaches Foundation. But the problems we talk about today, everybody has made reference to the public image of Nigeria. Underneath that are very serious problems. For example, here in Washington, worldwide, we read about the attack on the United Nations in Abuja, and then you have the history of instability in the Delta and the religious conflicts in areas you're very familiar with, such as Plateau State and other places. What is the long-range solution to these problems of instability that bring about the bad image of the country?
Governor?
Who would like to take that?
Chairman now. Give it to him to answer. chairman. No, it's not about being chairman. The zero-sumness of it is economy. If Nigeria wants to move forward, if Nigeria wants to stop the instability, if Nigeria wants to stop religious crisis, if it wants to stop bombing, if it wants to stop the stability in the Niger Delta, which currently, you're not correct to say it's still on in the Niger Delta, then we must focus on economic growth that creates employment, not figures. Not, River State has 21% of GDP, we're the second largest economy. Who wants to know? The man who gets up in the morning, and I've said it several in the different speeches that I've made in the country, that if government does not provide a legitimate means of livelihood, the citizens will provide for themselves an illegitimate means of livelihood. Now you ask a question, so why are we not providing that? The answer is not that we're not. It's that the problem is large. It's huge to the extent that an 8-year regime, but I'm sure that was what made Obasanjo look at the possibility of a third term. An 8-year regime would not solve those problems. Nigeria must agree as a nation that putting their hands in the till does not solve problem. Because as you put your hands in the till, and I tell this joke a lot, that why are rich men scared of armed robbers? That all they are coming for is redistribution of wealth. You go to the office, you steal huge amount of money, $200 million, and you go home. And the armed robber meets you in the night with his gun. You see, he may not have shot you if you just say, gentleman, don't worry about this. I just stole $200 million. You take $50 million. I take $150. He will say, gentleman, thank you very much. I don't need to shoot you. I'll go home with my gun. But when he comes, you begin to panic. Oh, I have no money at all. I didn't steal anything. He knows you've just stolen. And since you're not willing to give him, he pulls out his gun. But this is a phenomenon that's everywhere in the third world economy. And the current government, both the past and present governors, the current president, are beginning to think about the way forward. That's why what we've heard here is agric. Even a country as rich, a state as rich as Rivers in oil, we're saying, no, this oil in the first place is mined by the federal government. So our people are not benefiting in terms of employment growth. So if I want to make sure that people don't steal anymore in River State, brutal security, force, physical security does not solve problem. I usually tell the story that the economy is that bad to the extent that it affects values and morals. And I tell the story of a joke of if a mother stands at the front of her door and says, my daughter will never go out of this house today, which before you cannot do. All you need to do is don't go out, and the daughter won't go out, because when she comes home, you provide the food. Now she comes home, the mother is not providing food, the father is not providing food, the siblings are not going to school, and then you stand at the door and say, no, my child cannot go out because I have moral values. As you put your legs in between, she will pass through here and go out and come back and pass here backwards and go back to the room without your knowing. So basically, it's an economic issue. And Nigerians must, not necessarily government. The problem with Nigeria is that Nigeria see government as government versus we. We have to agree as citizens. We have to agree as citizens here that Nigeria belongs to all of us, and that we must work together to lift ourselves from this economic underdevelopment and take the country to that place that everybody will see employment opportunity and stop rushing to Europe and America. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We will take 30 seconds from Governor Roches, 30 seconds from Governor Shema of Katsina, and then we'll have to close out the session. There is another group following us, and your interest is very much appreciated. You'll have an opportunity in the halls also to reach out to the governors, but we've got to stick to the time we have. Governor Roches, you've got about 30 seconds, and then Governor Shema.
Well, still on the issue of security, I quite agree with our chairman, but the most important thing, quite frankly, because I've traveled worldwide, I've traveled most part of the world, but I can tell you the only very friendly group of people I've met in my life are Nigerians. We're not really. Our challenge is that our media and our presentation and packaging is very weak and very poor. I think it's the way we're being represented, and I want to appeal to this group. In addition to what you're doing, we need to set up a team to really project Nigeria in the right direction. You see a case of armed robbery. One case is celebrated in the U.S. more than anything else. And that is not what that nation is. If you want to see very kind, accommodating people, come to Nigeria. And some of you who have been there will bear me witness that these are very friendly people.
Thank you very much. Governor Shema. Microphone for Governor Shema, please.
Come over here.
Use this.
Yeah, I believe the challenges in Nigeria are practical and real as far as issue of security and unemployment, and indeed the effect of corruption. These are real challenges. What is important is for both or all the state governments, the federal government, and the Western powers to work in tandem with the governments of Nigeria to address these concerns a long time. We are talking about coming to invest in Nigeria. Those who want to invest will want their capital to be secured. They want return on investment. And Nigerians will want to have long-lasting partnership in development of trade, in development of commerce, agriculture, minerals, and all that. So this is a collective thing to do. As long as the West is interested in investing in Nigeria, then we must work as partners in all the sectors. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Any of the other excellencies would like to say 10 or 30 seconds worth of closing remark? No? Governor of Benue, Governor of Ogun? Just,
Well, without sounding repetitive, I think all of us should be partners in progress, even those that are coming to invest in Nigeria and we that are Nigerians. And I think once all of us has that singular goal, those that are coming to invest and those that are portraying Nigeria from outside should do that in good light. I think we'll get to where we're going. We are not unmindful of the challenges, but that shouldn't deter us from at least looking ahead positively and not to be pessimistic about it. I think we're on the right path, really.
thank you, Governor. Your Excellency?
Well, mine actually is to appeal to Nigerians in the diaspora to exhibit patriotism. Most time, the international press picked from us the way we talk about ourselves and our country has been a major problem. If, an American anywhere is proud to be an American, but you meet Nigerians outside of Nigeria and are denigrating their country, and that is a problem. Yes, we have teething problems, just like any developing nation. There is no nation, even America here, we're talking about unemployment rising between up to 9-point-something%. We have those problems more in a developing nation, and Nigeria is a developing nation that has teething problems. Let us project ourselves. It is only then that the international community will begin to take us seriously, no matter what we say. If we keep denigrating our country and ourselves, I think we'll have issues. Like Okorocha said, Nigeria is a very, very hospitable, environment-friendly country, and that is why you have your very senior State Department officials calling us here to project Nigeria in a different way because they've seen a lot of potentials. And I, once again, would thank this great American woman who have made it possible for us to be here. And with such forums down the road, I think we'll begin to interact among ourselves more positively than we have done in the past.
We do have another group coming in. Governor Inoki, you want 10 seconds to say something? You're okay? Ambassador, 10 seconds. Then we have to leave because we do have another group coming in. 10 seconds.
Governors, Ambassador Jeta and Saunders, I just want to emphasize what the governors have spoken about, and that is that there's a paradigm shift in Nigeria right now. A paradigm shift concerning the way we do business, what we expect from our government, the way we look at governance, and the way we play politics. And I want to underscore the importance of our emphasis now on democracy and the effect it has on the way we conduct business. The fact that we now have a system in place where people now believe that government officials are supposed to be accountable for their deeds is a natural spur to effective performance. Now that we have a credible electoral system by which governors and political office holders know that if they do not perform, 4 years down the line, they'll be thrown out of office. there's a natural tendency on their part to perform. And that's why you're seeing all these governors making effective efforts to ensure that there's progress in the country. I'm sure that when the last election was held, and I keep telling my American audience, we did a good election. All the bad guys are out. The ones that are in, the ones you see here, are the good guys. And they know that they are there for only 4 years. After 4 years, there'll be a scorecard for them. And they do know because of an electoral system that insists on credibility. They know that they will be judged by their performances in the next 4 years. And that's a sport to performance. That's why you see them all making efforts to perform. And that's why we single out those of them who have been able to retain their offices after the last 4 years. It shows that they have performed. And I remember when Governor Okorocha was appointed, was elected.
2 seconds left.
Yeah, the first person he visited was Governor Fashola for the simple reason. Now, let me make a quick appeal to the investors here. When the American investors, when we privatize our electronic industry, you missed out because of your bias against Nigeria. Now we are now moving on to do a new effort on power and agric. I'm telling you, if you ask those who did in our telecommunication industry, they will tell you they never made such a profit in such a short time. Now the market and demand in our power and agric industries is twice that of our telecommunication. So if you come to invest in our power and agric industry, you will never regret it. Please.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Let me just say quickly before you leave, I just really need to say on behalf of Steve McDonald, CFA, Mel Foote, CFA Chairman Stan Strader, I really appreciate your partnership in this. This is an event that I wanted to do when I was ambassador there. I brought it to Steve, I brought it to Mel, and I brought it to Stan Strader, and we all came together as partners. The 3 logos are there. Let's give those organizations, Steve, Mel, and Stan, a round of applause. This could not have happened without them. And I also want to thank the ambassador as well. He has been a partner in this from the very, very beginning. And Your Excellencies, thank you for coming such a long way. I know how much you care about Nigeria. I know how much you project the positive image of Nigeria. You've been a wonderful example of your wonderful country, and we look forward to partnering with you in the future on a variety of things. Thank you all for coming.